Roy Orbison was an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. He tried to join the rock and roll crew in the 1950s with protracted efforts to get a track called Ooby Dooby released. Soon he became more associated with slower, more vulnerable songs which suited him better, and he became hugely successful in the 60s. His trademark look came about by being self-conscious about his naturally grey hair, so he dyed it, and losing his normal glasses, so having to wear his prescription sunglasses, and then that kind of established the look that he's had. Towards the end of the 60s, his popularity waned to almost non-existent, only then to have a resurgence in the 90s. He recorded an album as part of the supergroup Travelling Wilburys and had just finished recording an album of his own in 1988 when he died. So that album was released as his 22nd album in 1989, and there's been a couple more that have emerged since then. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is a review of Mystery Girl by Roy Orbison, and it's my first time listening to it. I did know a couple of tracks on it. We'll get into that in a minute. This was the 22nd album that was released, so it was the one that I referred to in the introduction that he released. Was released shortly after his death, and at the height of his resurgence, basically. So it involves some of the people who were in Travelling Wilburys. So Tom Petty, who was in Travelling Wilburys, Bono, who wasn't. There's a song by Elvis Costello. There's a large involvement and influence from Jeff Lynne here as well, from a VLO who was in Travelling Wilburys as well. And although he didn't, so he was involved in production and in playing and in writing some of the stuff. And on the tracks where he's not listed as a producer, I can still at times kind of hear his influence in the production. I feel like it's very much kind of going down the Jeff Lynne mould, as it were. I would confidently describe the album as pop rock, and I'm going to claim it has 4 good songs on it. So I'm going to talk about those individually. So You've Got It was the first hit, first song on the album, and it was a huge hit. And very much I can hear Jeff Lynne's fingers in here, especially. So there's his acoustic guitar use here. Now, I have to confess that one of the reasons that I hear the Jeff Lynne influence is that I have been absolutely drenched in ELO through my life. It's one of my favourite bands ever, and so I can hear that this sounds like Jeff Lynne ELO of this kind of era in time as well. And he had a particular thing of having acoustic guitar kind of which kind of just whiffles away in the background. It's fairly compressed kind of sound, but is kind of part of his signature sound, if you like. Next song, I'm going to talk about The Comedians. So this was written by Elvis Costello, and it's an unusual song in some ways. It sticks out thematically from the rest of the album by being quite a bit darker than the other songs that are here, which yeah, interestingly, I think suits Roy Orbison's voice quite well. She's a Mystery is a track which is written by Bono, which I feel that I know quite well. I presume that means that this was a hit as well. And the other one that jumped out at me a bit is The Windsurfer, just because it's got quite an unusual subject matter to it. I'm not sure I've ever heard of a song about windsurfing before, or windsurfers. So it's quite a cute little thing that they've done with that. So, putting those 4 songs aside, to be honest, I found the rest of the album quite cliched and nothing special. Felt like we got some good songs, and then the rest is, I'm sure they didn't think of it as filler, but the rest feel like they're not as strong and not as good. His voice, you're going to have to talk about his voice. He's got a distinctive, strong voice, huge range, very well controlled. Somehow he manages to get this kind of rambling quality to it, which gives it a vulnerability, which kind of pervades the whole thing, which in other places I would say with some of the hits that I know of his, he's made really good use of. He is a bit light on consonants in the way that he sings. Sometimes the production of the songs actually reduces them further, so you're almost entirely vowels. Sometimes it takes several listens to work out what he's singing. This is not hugely unusual. I do prefer being able to hear words, to be honest. You can work them out in a lot of cases from context as well. It's amazing how good we are at doing this. So, kind of overall for this album, meh. Four good songs. The rest, not that impressed by. And I have to say, while I respect him, I'm not a fan. That doesn't mean I'm an unfan. Don't dislike him, but I've never really kind of attached myself to the idea of, oh, Roy Orbison, he's brilliant and I love him. Just kind of, yeah, he's okay generally. And this album is mostly, there's some good stuff, but the rest of it, yeah, it's okay. It's just didn't feel that strong. And I wonder if, so I feel like that the album's possibly better regarded than it should be. And I wonder if that's due to the timing of the album, partly because of his resurgence to popularity, but then, of course, unfortunately, partly because of the fact that he died just before it came out, which often seems to be a thing that makes people change their opinions of the person, of the artist. So that's what I think of this album. As always, I'd love to know what you think. So please do let me know by leaving me a comment. And that's it from me for now.
I sat there alone up on the Ferris wheel, a pastel-colored carriage in the air. I thought you'd leave me dangling for a little while, a silly